Welcome back to the Simple Mindspace podcast, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's incredibly relevant to our current social climate, the art of conversation. It seems like we've lost sight of how to genuinely connect with one another, to engage in meaningful dialogue without descending into arguments and division. Think about it. How many times have you scrolled through social media only to be met with inflammatory posts about politics, religion, or even seemingly harmless topics like food preferences? How many times have you felt that uncomfortable tension building up in your chest when a conversation veers into potentially volatile territory? We've all been there, avoiding certain friends or family members simply because we dread the inevitable clash of opinions. It's as if the very act of expressing ourselves has become a minefield, a constant negotiation between staying true to our beliefs and preserving the peace. Remember the old adage about sticking to safe topics like the weather or health to avoid conflict? Well, in the age of climate change debates and anti-vaccination movements, even those seemingly neutral grounds have become potential battlefields. The reality is, we live in a deeply polarized world. Research tells us that we are more divided than ever before, less likely to find common ground or even attempt to understand perspectives different from our own. This polarization seeps into every aspect of our lives, influencing where we choose to live, who we form relationships with, and even how we raise our children. It's a vicious cycle of echo chambers and confirmation bias, where we surround ourselves with people who already agree with us, further solidifying our own viewpoints without ever challenging them. Technology, while a powerful tool in many ways, has undoubtedly contributed to this phenomenon. We're constantly bombarded with information, much of it tailored to our pre-existing biases. Social media algorithms, designed to keep us engaged, often feed us more of what we already agree with, creating these digital bubbles that limit exposure to diverse perspectives. And then there's the sheer volume of communication. Think about teenagers today, for example, who send hundreds of text messages daily. While this allows them to stay connected, it often comes at the expense of face-to-face interaction, of reading body language, and navigating the nuances of in-person conversation. This reliance on digital communication has led to a decline in what some educators call conversational competence, the ability to articulate our thoughts clearly, listen actively, and engage in meaningful dialogue. This skill, once considered fundamental, is becoming increasingly rare, and the consequences are significant. Think about the last time you had a truly engaging conversation. The kind that left you feeling energized, inspired, perhaps even changed in some small way. These conversations are like precious gems, rare and valuable. But here's the good news. Achieving this level of connection is a skill that can be cultivated, and it all starts with how we approach our interactions. Here are 10 essential rules for becoming a better conversationalist. 1. Be fully present. Put away the distractions, and I don't just mean your phone. Clear your mind of mental clutter as well. Forget about that looming work deadline or the argument you had earlier. Be fully present in the moment, giving the other person your undivided attention. If you can't, it's better to politely excuse yourself than to be half present and disengaged. 2. Approach conversations with curiosity. Ditch the need to be right or to dominate the conversation. Enter every interaction with the mindset that you have something to learn. Everyone, regardless of their background or beliefs, is an expert in something. Embrace that diversity of knowledge and experience. You'll be surprised at what you discover. 3. Ask open-ended questions. Instead of asking questions with simple yes or no answers, opt for open-ended questions that encourage elaboration. Begin your questions with who, what, when, where, why, or how. For example, instead of asking, "Did you have a good day?" try, "Tell me about your day." This shift invites the other person to share more, enriching the conversation. 4. Go with the flow. Don't get so caught up in planning your next brilliant point that you miss what the other person is saying. Let thoughts come and go naturally. Allow the conversation to meander and unfold organically. Some of the most memorable conversations are those that take unexpected turns. 5. Acknowledge your limits. It's okay to not have all the answers. In fact, admitting when you don't know something can make you a more engaging conversationalist. Avoid the temptation to exaggerate or pretend to be an expert on something you're not. Authenticity is key. 6. Respect the uniqueness of experiences. Resist the urge to interject your own experiences when someone is sharing something personal or challenging. While it can be tempting to relate by sharing similar stories, it can also derail the conversation and make it about you. Remember, every individual's experience is unique. Instead of drawing comparisons, offer your empathy and understanding. 7. Avoid repetition. Constantly repeating yourself is not only tedious, but also implies that you're not confident in your ability to communicate effectively the first time. Trust that your message has been heard and move on to other aspects of the conversation. 8. Focus on the essence, not the details. People generally remember stories and emotions, not dates, names, or specific facts. Don't get bogged down in trying to recall every detail perfectly. Instead, focus on conveying the heart of the story and the emotions behind it. 9. Listen actively and empathetically. This is perhaps the most important rule of all. True listening involves not just hearing the words, but truly absorbing their meaning, understanding the speaker's perspective, and responding in a way that shows you've been paying attention. Put aside your own thoughts and judgments for a moment and try to see the world through the other person's eyes. 10. Be brief and be interested. Monopolizing the conversation can be exhausting for the other person. Practice the art of brevity and focus on drawing out the other person's thoughts and experiences. Remember, everyone has a story to tell, a unique perspective to offer. In a world where meaningful connection can feel increasingly elusive, mastering the art of conversation is a superpower. By approaching our interactions with curiosity, empathy, and a genuine desire to understand, we can bridge divides, foster connection, and rediscover the joy of true human interaction. So, the next time you find yourself engaging in conversation, remember these 10 rules. Choose one, master it, and watch as your relationships deepen and your conversations become more meaningful. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love for you to subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave us a review. Let's continue the conversation in the comments below. We'll see you in the next episode of the Simple Mind Space podcast.